No, for Phillips, they were interested, but I'm told that there was no official bid. So even on late size, they received no official bid. Man United dream of Declan Rice, want Declan Rice, consider Declan Rice the perfect player.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I had the pleasure of being joined by the Holy Grail of transfer news, Fabrizio Romano, to discuss West Ham's upcoming summer transfer window, as well as getting a little bit of clarity on the January transfer window. Did we or did we not bid for certain players? Now, while you're here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video. And if you're interested in sponsoring interviews like these in the future, please get in touch with us over at hammerschat@gmail.com. You can also support the channel via our Patreon as well, which will help us do more interviews like this. I'll tell you a bit more about that towards the end of the video, but for now, let's hear what Fabrizio's got to say. Right, Fabrizio, let's get straight into it. West Ham, big summer coming up for us. We believe to have a big budget available. A lot of West Ham fans are wanting to see a big striker arrive this summer. Have you heard any names that West Ham might be interested in?
Well, for sure, new striker will arrive. As you mentioned, the budget is pretty good, so I'm sure that West Ham are already planning to do something important. In January, the name they really wanted was Darwin Núñez from Benfica. We know that the negotiation was serious, was concrete. So I expect West Ham to be again on Darwin Núñez. It's not going to be easy because, this summer is going to be strikers market. It's going to be striker summer. So many clubs, important clubs, are looking for a striker, even in England, like Arsenal, Man City, Man United, and many clubs are involved in this strikers race, also in other countries like in Italy and Spain. So it's not going to be easy for West Ham to pick their favorite striker, but Darwin Núñez has always been top of the list for the Hammers, so I'm sure they will try again. The contacts with his agent were pretty good, but the problem was the price, with Benfica asking more than 50 million euros in January. West Ham were offering around 45, so it was not enough to convince Benfica even on deadline day, because to find a substitute or replacement was almost impossible. But I'm sure that he will be the top name, and they have other candidates. I don't expect them to be back on Gabigol. I saw some reports from Brazil about Gabigol. Was a rumor even last January, beginning of January, but it was a possibility that West Ham were considering only for a loan deal with buy option, and for Flamengo was not even a possibility. So let's see. I'm sure that Darwin Núñez will be the priority again, but they have other names in the list.
What about a name that you're familiar with? Chelsea's Broha, currently on loan at Southampton, a name that's sort of been sporadically linked to West Ham. Do you expect him to be on the move for Stamford Bridge, and could West Ham be one of the clubs that would be after him?
Which is the player you mean? I missed it.
Broha, Amado Broha of Chelsea.
Yes. Of course, he's a player that West Ham have in their list. But also in this case, many clubs want him. He's doing fantastic with Southampton. We're talking about one of the best talents around. The real problem, I'm told now, is to clarify what happens with Chelsea, because everything is in standby with Chelsea. And so even his agents are waiting to understand for the situation to be clarified, to understand what Chelsea wants to do with Armando. But what he's doing, his performances have been fantastic, and I'm sure that West Ham have his name in the list. I'm also sure that Southampton will try to get him on a permanent deal, but it's not going to be easy. They wanted to make a record bid in January, but Chelsea don't want even to negotiate for Armando Broja, and it could be an option also for other clubs, because Italian clubs are watching him closely. I can tell you that last summer Udinese in Italy wanted him on loan, so he's always been on the radar of Italian clubs. Of course, now he's for top clubs and no longer for normal or small clubs. But West Ham have his name in the list, so I'm sure that it could be an option. But at the moment, it's not something that is progressing because of Chelsea's situation. So everything is in standby with Chelsea, and that's why it will take some time to understand what happens with Armando Broja and with Conor Gallagher too.
Now let's talk about Declan Rice. His name's everywhere at the minute. Obviously doing really well West Ham, really well with England. Linked to two big clubs in general, with Chelsea and Manchester United. What do you know about the Declan Rice situation?
So for Declan Rice, I think the first important point to mention, and every time I speak about Declan Rice, I always mention this point, is to respect West Ham, because what they showed in the last few years is that they've been really serious with Declan Rice. I think other clubs in their position were maybe prepared to sell the player. We're talking about the midfielder, fantastic player, but he's a midfielder. He's not like a number 10 or a striker. So many clubs in their position could have been prepared to sell him for 60, 50, 60, 70 million with no problem, and replacing him with a normal player. But West Ham have been really serious. I still remember when Frank Lampard wanted him for Chelsea, and West Ham were really good in keeping him, in trusting him, in protecting him, and wanting him as to be the face of the project for the coming years. And this is why I think it's going to happen the same this summer. West Ham will do their best to keep the player at the club. So I always see a lot of rumors about Declan Rice, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Man City, Man United. But it's important to respect West Ham because what they're doing with Declan Rice is something that is showing the ambition, and is not normal for this kind of club. So my first point is to say congrats to West Ham for what they're doing, and I'm sure that they will try again to protect the player and to keep the player. Talking about the interest, he's top of the list for Man United since long time. So Man United dream of Declan Rice, want Declan Rice, consider Declan Rice the perfect player for their idea, for their approach of the new season. Now let's see who will be the new manager, because we know how important it is to understand who is the manager, what kind of project he will have, and so what will be the budget to be spent on a defensive midfielder. But Man United will sign a defensive midfielder, and Declan Rice is a player they want. So let's see about the price also, because every time I see around, even in Spain, when they talk about Real Madrid, I see rumors around 90 million, 100 million euros. I'm not sure West Ham will accept this fee. I'm sure they want more than this. I'm sure they will do the best to protect the player. So it's going to be a difficult one for many clubs who want Declan Rice. It's going to be not easy for Man United, but they want him. They want him. Man City also will go for a defensive midfielder. And let's see if Declan Rice will be part of their project or not. Also, in this case, it's about the budget, because if they get Erling Haaland, maybe it will be difficult to sign in the same window Haaland and Declan Rice. Chelsea, since long time, they're dreaming of Declan Rice. As I mentioned, with Frank Lampard, he was the player he wanted. So Lampard was pushing to have Declan Rice. But even without Frank Lampard, they always had Declan Rice in their list. But now, of course, with Chelsea, I'm not able to tell you what's going to happen, because it depends on the new owners that will arrive within May, and so to understand what will be the plan for Chelsea's future before knowing the targets. So everything is still open, but I'm 100% sure that West Ham, again, will do their best to keep the player. They won't accept normal bids or good bids. They want crazy bids for Declan Rice or nothing. And so this will be the stance of the club, I'm sure.
And when we speak about Declan Rice going to Chelsea, you mentioned about how Frank Lampard was a big admirer. Is Tuchel an admirer of Declan Rice as well, or was it mainly a Frank Lampard target?
I'm told yes. I'm told that the player is appreciated since long time by Thomas Tuchel, so he considers Declan Rice a really important and good midfielder. The real point at Chelsea, now apart of what's going on with sanctions and with this standby situation, has always been about the budget, because we know that Chelsea were looking to sign a new centre-back. The priority has always been the centre-back. Last summer, they were pushing to sign Jules Koundé from Sevilla. Then the deal collapsed, but the focus was on the centre-back. Then now let's see what's going on, but also the winger is something that they wanted to do. Raphinha from Leeds is a player that they had in the list, and now Barcelona are leading the race. But Chelsea were looking for a winger. They were looking for a centre-back. Now everything is in standby, but it's about the budget. I'm not sure that these clubs will be able this summer to spend big money on 3 different big players. That's why budget will be the point, and to understand also how much West Ham will accept for Declan Rice, because as I mentioned before, I'm sure that they will make no discount for a player like Declan Rice, and I'm sure that it's not going to be an easy negotiation. So Tuchel is not a problem. It's not an issue, Tuchel idea for Declan Rice. It's about the price. Everything is about the fee. Everything is about the price, and that's why the negotiation is not going to be easy. So it could be positive for West Ham.
Another player West Ham hold fondly in their hearts after his loan move is Jesse Lingard. Is he definitely leaving Old Trafford this summer on a free?
Yes, from what I'm told, yes. The plan on both sides, Man United and Jesse Lingard, is not to extend the contract. The only way to change the situation is maybe if a new manager arrives and says, okay, we need to keep the player, let me talk with the player and let's change the situation. But as things stand, nothing is going on this side for Jesse Lingard to extend the contract. So the expectation around Man United is for the player to leave on a free. He wanted to join Newcastle on deadline day. It was a really difficult January window for him, because at the beginning of the window, Jesse Lingard wanted to stay at Man United, to wait till the summer to make his choice in his future club. As you know, always on social media, joking with West Ham stuff. So we had a lot of rumors on West Ham, on Newcastle, but then at the end, the player wanted to wait till the end of the season. But then on deadline day, he asked Man United to leave. He was desperate to leave and to find some game time, and so to change his position and leave the club in January. Man United said no because of Greenwood's story, so they were needing another player. So that's what happened on deadline day. But now the player wants to go. He wants to play after so many seasons as a good player, but never playing as a starter, regular starter at Man United. Now he wants to have the feeling he had with West Ham, and he was amazing with West Ham. So I'm sure that he will leave on a free if nothing crazy is going to happen with the new manager. And so let's see where he will go, because Newcastle have always been interested, but let's see what kind of targets they will have in the summer. We know that they have big budgets, so maybe it could change after January window. Let's see what happens with West Ham too. At the moment, it's something that is not advanced with Jesse Lingard. But, when you have this kind of free agent opportunities, it could be always open till the last minute. So it's something that is not advanced right now. But I'm sure that having Lingard available on the market on a free could be a big chance for many clubs.
One player we've been linked with in the last couple of weeks is Milenkovic of Fiorentina, the centre-back. A lot of reports suggest that he's set to leave Fiorentina this summer. Do you know if that's to be true, and if West Ham is a likely destination?
West Ham have always been following this man. Nikola Milenkovic is doing pretty good in Serie A since a long time with Fiorentina. Last summer, West Ham were really serious on Milenkovic. Then Fiorentina decided to extend his contract on a short one, so it was not a 5-year deal, but it was helping to protect the player in a complicated moment. But I'm sure, and I'm told, that West Ham are still following Nikola Milenkovic. They're not the only club, because Milenkovic has always been appreciated even by Italian clubs looking for centre-backs. So I'm sure there will be many clubs in the race. But the relationship is good with players' agent, even with Fiorentina. So it could be an option for West Ham. At the moment, from what I'm told, talking about the news you told me, at the moment, I'm not told that he's 100% sure that he will leave Fiorentina. He's focusing on this final part of the season with Fiorentina. Then they will make the choice in the summer. But again, talking about the price, I don't see, as I see around, Fiorentina selling a player for 12 or 15 million euros. They want more than this. For example, last summer, he was in the list of Tottenham too, before they signed Cristian Romero from Atalanta. He was a player that they were monitoring. So there is a lot of interest around him, but I'm not sure that 12, 15 million could be enough to sign Nikola Milenkovic.
And lastly, let's just rewind to the January transfer a minute. West Ham were linked to 3 players with big bids. We've already spoken of one of Darwin Núñez. We know that's true. But also Leeds United duo Kalvin Phillips and Raphinha. Do you know if West Ham actually bid for those players, or if it was just newspaper speculation?
No, for Phillips, they were interested, but I'm told that there was no official bid. So even on Leeds side, they received no official bid. For Raphinha, it was serious. It was more than serious, because West Ham in the final week, it was not just on deadline day, but in the final week of January, they were really trying to sign Raphinha. They had a direct contact with Leeds, so they were pushing to make a proposal even around 35 million euros, maybe 40 with add-ons. So they were preparing their proposal, but on Leeds side, it was not even a topic. They needed Raphinha, so that's why nothing happened. And the deal collapsed. It was impossible for Leeds to sell Raphinha in January. But he's a player that West Ham wanted. Now I feel that it's going to be really, really complicated because Barcelona are leading the race. They're pushing with his agent. Deco is really close to Barcelona president Juan Laporta. So it's going to be complicated, I think, in the summer to jump in this race for West Ham. But I'm sure that they are preparing an important market because, as you mentioned, the budget would be pretty good. In January, they made the decision not to waste some money on players they didn't trust, but to wait a bit and then spend money in the summer on players they want and they trust. So I'm sure that this kind of strategy is always a good idea in football in general. This is how I feel. I see that clubs that work like this have good results, better than wasting money on players you don't trust. So it's better to wait 5-6 months and then sign players you want. So I'm sure that this will be the approach from West Ham.
Good man, Fabrizio. Thank you very much for joining me today. I massively appreciate it.
Thank you. I wish you all the best, and thank you for inviting me.
Massive thank you to Fabrizio for joining me, and he's going to come on again ahead of the summer transfer window as well as during the summer transfer window, providing this video does well. So get your likes on it by clicking the thumbs up button and subscribing if you're new to the channel. Not too far away from 23,000 subscribers. Be nice to do that before the end of the season. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, you can help support the channel, which will help us do more interviews like that in the future. And I'm not going to lie, I quite enjoy doing them. But you can do that by joining our Patreon. The link's in the description and the pinned comments underneath this video. And in return, you get more Hammers Chat video. Additional Hammers Chat videos. Who doesn't want that? Loads of people. Loads of people don't want more. But if you're one of the ones that wouldn't mind a little bit more of Hammers Chat, including the player ratings series with myself and Gonzo after every West Ham game, do check out the link. But it's not just videos you get. There's a few perks as well, such as online discount at our store, access to ticket giveaways. Recently we've given away tickets to the Sevilla game, the Everton game, the upcoming quarter-final against Lyon as well. Anyway, all the details below. But again, a massive thank you to Fabrizio. Thoroughly enjoyed it. He's always been on my sort of wish list guest to have on the channel, so I'm glad to have him on, and I hope he comes back on in the future as well. But while you might have to wait a little bit longer for more Fabrizio, you don't have to wait any longer for a little bit of more Gio and Gonzo. We'll be back tomorrow night with our Everton preview. So drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to me around here, and I'll catch you in a bit.